What is going on, Headliner Nation? We have just witnessed the first weekend of NFL playoff football, and it left me and Kyle pretty much pissed off. I don't know if it left you pissed off. I don't know if you enjoyed the games, but Kyle, overall, underwhelming weekend when it comes to the Wildcard Weekend in the NFL.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
It feels like there wasn't a ton to get super excited about, and I spent a majority of the weekend saying to myself, WTF.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about a few things in this show that kind of, really piqued our attention here this week. And the first one being, Kyle, is how many of these games sucked. There was only one game this entire weekend that was decided by less than 2 scores, and that was the Washington and Tampa Bay game. Great game to watch, very exciting game to watch. The other ones, not so much. I feel like I almost turned off every other game by halftime.
They were fun for the first 10 minutes.
Ish, maybe. Were they though?
I don't know. Maybe we should just start letting less teams into the playoffs, because clearly those teams at the bottom aren't doing what they're supposed to, except for Washington. They got the job done.
Yeah, Washington, Jaden Daniels, he looked great. I mean, I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what he can do here, not only in the playoffs this year, but Kyle, moving forward, I think a lot of people are starting to realize that Jaden Daniels could probably be a thing here in the NFL for quite some time.
Yeah, for quite some time. He is very good.
All right, so here's the thing. So we know some games sucked, right? Part of the reasons one of the games sucked, and I'm going to talk about Baltimore and Pittsburgh here for a second, is Arthur Smith is involved. And anytime Arthur Smith is involved, things absolutely suck. Like, the offense in Pittsburgh has just nosedived the last month, 4 to 6 weeks at least. It's ugly in Pittsburgh. We knew that Baltimore was probably going to win, but Pittsburgh didn't even put up much of a fight.
I don't know how Arthur Smith is still having anything to do at the NFL level at this point, after the cluster that was the Atlanta Falcons. And now he rode the coattails of A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry for a couple of years, and then turned that into an NFL career. And he's going to be one of those recycled coaches that we see over the next several years.
You know what I would rather have happen in Pittsburgh, Kyle? I think that they should just have a game of Madden on the sideline, and they should just use the coaching suggestions before each play.
Yes, it would be better than what Arthur Smith.
100%. You just you just feed in the information of what's going on, and it just suggests the play. Because if we're relying on Arthur Smith, it's not going to work out. It's going to be disgusting. We saw George Pickens in the post-game interview where he's not even looking forward to what the offense is. It's bad in Pittsburgh, and maybe it's time for Mike Tomlin to go as well.
Based on the bland play calling that Arthur Smith has, he's got to be terrible in the bedroom.
I don't even want to find out, to be completely honest. That ugly mustache and those medium-sized sweaters that he wears, just not interested. You know what I mean? It's. I don't understand how the NFL can recycle so many bad coaches and just give them new opportunities. Like, why is Adam Gase or Matt Nagy, like, why are their names even viable anymore? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And Arthur Smith is definitely in that group of coaches that I want nothing to do with. What irritated you this weekend, Kyle?
I might be a Lions fan, but watching the Green Bay Packers play football irritates the heck out of me. They're very good in the regular season, and yeah, they got that win over the Packers last year in the over the Cowboys last year in the playoffs. I feel like they are one of the most undisciplined teams in the NFL. How many times do you watch a Packers game where one of their players have a stupid penalty that costs them in key moments of the game? And I even went back and looked, because I was like, how many penalties did they have this season?
206.
They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They had the 7th most penalties against them this season with 119. We saw their defensive tackle basically get caught up in the middle of the play and throw the quarterback to the ground after the whistle had already been blown. That's a stupid penalty. Against Detroit, they've had 2 instances, one where one of their players threw an athletic trainer to the ground when somebody was hurt. So for you Packers fans out there that are frustrated because you feel like you have a better team than what you've seen so far, Matt LaFleur might be a good coach, but I don't think he's a good leader. I think he is an awful leader. The culture change that you've seen in Detroit because of Dan Campbell and the way he leads his team is what's needed in Green Bay. They might be good enough to win during the regular season, but you're not winning any type of championship anytime soon until Matt LaFleur gets control over his team.
We got to be honest about something, though, Kyle. We got to be honest. We got to keep it real.
Let's keep it real.
If you're on the sidelines and you see Ethan there as an athletic trainer, you're going to suplex him. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to control yourself. You got to. He's so
But
suplexable.
when Ethan looks at you, his face is suplexable.
I feel that on the inside.
It's not that he is an athletic trainer or doctor or anything like that. It's his face.
Okay, it's just his face. I got you. Okay, now, all right, real quick, before we dive into the next thing that irritated Kyle and I here from this past weekend, I got to shout out today's sponsor, Turtle Beach. Now, you may be watching the video right now going, dang, that headset is huge. What is dude overcompensating for? And while that isn't altogether an incorrect statement, this is the new Stealth 700 series from Turtle Beach. Now, I don't know if you can tell or not, I may be yelling into the microphone because I can't hear a damn thing. They're wireless headphones with an 80-hour battery life that bring the game to life. It doesn't matter if you want to play video games or just listen to some great music, it can do either. It can do them both at the same time. Half the time when I go upstairs, my son's listening to his video game in one ear and his music in the other ear, and he's just dominating the controller. Now, Turtle Beach has every gaming accessory you could ever want. They're high quality at a price that does not break the bank. Now, Christmas is obviously over, but maybe you got a few bucks for Christmas that you want to spend on something for yourself. Head over to turtlebeach.com right now. If you use the code headliners at checkout, you're going to get 10% off your entire order. That's right, that's 10% off your entire order at turtlebeach.com if you use the promo code headliners at checkout. But now, let's go ahead and dive back into the show. Because you wanted to rant about the Packers, so you're basically saying they're kind of fraudulent a little bit. I think the Chargers and the Vikings got exposed in the playoffs. They did not show up. I was more surprised about the Chargers than I was the Vikings, if I'm completely honest.
Only because the Chargers to win that game.
Yeah, only because, I said that the Vikings would probably win, but I would not be surprised if the Rams won, and obviously the Rams did not seem to care. But how can a Harbaugh-led team, and maybe that's what I did. I put too many chips in the Harbaugh basket, just saying he's going to have these guys ready to go for the first round of the playoffs, and they just weren't. Now, part of it, Quentin Johnston is he? He may be one of the worst rookie prospects I've watched play football.
He's Devontae Parker 2.0.
And even I would probably still take Devontae Parker. It just doesn't. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know why he can't catch. Like, even when it hits him hitting him in the hands is the worst possible spot to hit the guy. You got to try to get it into his chest and just hope that he can corral it before it falls. And most of the time that doesn't even work. So that kills Justin Herbert at times. I understand that. He can't just have Ladd McConkey. Love Ladd McConkey. We'll talk about him in future episodes, but that's not enough to just go out there and win ball games.
No, it's not. And I don't know if it was really that the Chargers weren't ready. I just don't know if they were entirely focused. Like, Justin Herbert throws 3 picks, but not every interception was on him. No. He had one that was essentially off the hands of his tight end. Like you said, Quentin Johnston can't catch. I expect some more changes with that organization over the offseason.
Has to be. And the same thing can kind of be said for Minnesota. I don't understand how they fell off so hard so fast. Like,
the Lions broke them.
But did they? Like, the Lions are a great team. Like, they're supposed to beat a lot of people. So, like, you lose to the Lions, you're like, man, at least I lost to a great team. Then they go out and they didn't even hardly show up. Now, I will say, and I don't know what your opinion is on this, the whole Matthew Stafford, is it a pass? Is it a fumble, touchdown, recovery? I don't know. To me, that's 100% fumble. Obviously, I don't make those calls. Had that call stood and it'd be a 10-10 game, maybe the game goes a little bit differently. But
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, the way that but I'm just saying maybe there's a chance. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe.
That was probably pretty deflating for them as well and frustrating. So maybe that played somewhat of a part. But the Packers, the Chargers, the Vikings, in the 2024 NFL playoffs, they were very fraudulent. They very much disappointed a lot of people here this year. But I also did notice something in a couple of those games, Kyle, and I want your expertise, your expert opinion on this. You're not really an expert.
I was going to say this.
Well, we're not talking fantasy wise. We're just talking football wise.
I'm an expert at life, is what I've been told, and lovemaking.
I've never heard those rumors. Why the hell are so many NFL teams running the football late in fourth quarters when they're down by 2+ scores? I don't understand it. The Packers did it and the Vikings did it. Why? The way that offensive play calling is going for so many teams right now, it's like they're trying to get too cute. Oh, well, we got to balance the run and the pass to keep the defense honest. Mofo, you are down by 20 points. Throw the football and try to get in the end zone. You know what I mean? Like, there is none of this like, oh, we're just trying to keep the defense on. What are we doing running Aaron Jones up the gut for 1 yard almost every carry when you're down by more than one touchdown? I don't understand the thought process in the NFL when it comes to that.
For the Packers, I kind of get it, just a little bit. All
their pass catchers were hurt.
All their pass catchers were hurt, and your best playmaker is Josh Jacobs by and far. So maybe they're just hoping that he can spring a big run, or that if they stay somewhat balanced in the fourth, that they could get a bigger play down the field. It makes no sense for the Minnesota Vikings because you have TJ Hawkinson, you have Justin Jefferson, and you have Jordan Addison. That's completely on Kevin O'Connell. Yeah. Like, if Sam Darnold doesn't have enough time to throw, then you need to adjust in game to get the ball out of his hands quicker and hopefully make some plays in the passing game. But when you have those offensive weapons, you shouldn't be running the football against a Los Angeles Rams team that is absolutely driving your offensive line back. Go into shotgun, run some slants, some outs, some screens, whatever you can do. Just get the ball out of his hands and into Justin Jefferson or anyone else's hands and have them make some plays for you.
Which kind of leads me into the next thing that really pissed me off this weekend, Kyle. And maybe I was just a little bit on edge. Things were just irritating me like crazy. How about, we just talked about getting the ball to Justin Jefferson. How about teams not utilizing the studs that they have, and because of it, they end up losing their playoff game? George Pickens only had 5 targets. This goes back to the Arthur Smith point, though, right? I mean, he absolutely sucks. We get it.
Oh, yeah.
He had 5 targets. He caught all 5 of them. He was catching whatever was thrown to him. How about Mike Evans? He only had 7 targets. Most of them were in the first half. Tampa Bay lost. Why do these two guys not have 10+ targets? And then you mentioned Justin Jefferson. How do you go into a playoff game against a team that's coming out pretty hot in Los Angeles and Justin Jefferson sees 8 targets and hardly anything at all in the second half of a ball game where you're trailing by multiple scores? I don't understand this. And a lot of people are going to probably put down in the comment section, Kyle, oh, well, the most of the defensive attention is on these guys. They're getting doubled over I don't care. In the playoffs, I'm trying, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose.
Open.
Yeah. I will get it to my best player as much as I can. You see other teams doing it, so it's not like other teams are able to do it and the Minnesota Vikings aren't. There's ways to do it. They're just not creative enough, and it really gets exposed in the playoffs.
It's all about making adjustments in game, I feel like. And I feel like that's where NFL head coaches and things personally lack. And there are some teams that are very good at making in-game adjustments, coming out in the second half, changing things up and taking advantage of that. But then you look at a team like Pittsburgh. Yeah, you get the ball to George Pickens 5 times. Why are you not getting it to him more, especially if you're playing from behind? Justin Jefferson should have double-digit targets every single game. Then Jordan Addison should be right behind him. And if you throw the ball 25 times in a game, 20 of those attempts should be to Justin Jefferson and or Jordan Addison. That's the way it should be every single game. And that's why there are so many issues. We see it during the regular season even because we'll talk about this stud is going to have a really big game and then it's he completely disappears and people are like, what happened? And it's I don't know. I wasn't in the meeting room with them all week. I don't know why they decided to say, hey, my first team all pro wide receivers only going to get 6 targets this week. I don't know why it happens sometimes. Obviously defenses can clamp down on them, but that's why offensive coordinators, offensive-minded head coaches, you've got to be able to make in-game changes. It has to be done.
Think of it this way, and this is kind of just a way to look at the big picture. You don't think opposing defenses knew Jamar Chase was getting the football this year? Like, defenses schemed against that, and they still found a way every single week to get him the football. It's just the way it is. Good teams make things happen. I could have put Cooper Kupp's name on this list, but the Rams won. But he wasn't a part of the offense at all. It's basically just Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams for the most part at this point. Now we know Puka's a little bit banged up with a potential knee issue. Do we see more Kupp next week?
Tyler Higbee.
Yep.
He was in the hospital.
Yep.
He's hurt again.
So, I mean, there's going to be more opportunities for him, but they won the game. So I didn't want to include, I'm talking about teams who lost in the playoffs that didn't utilize arguably their best players. And then one more thing, Kyle, before I'm going to have to stop ranting here because I feel my blood pressure rising. And it's a beautiful Tuesday. I'm going to go out and probably finish scraping.
It's snowing here, so I don't know what you mean by beautiful.
Okay, well, I'm getting ready to go out and scrape the rest of the ice off of my driveway after this. It's probably cold, but I'm going to do it in shorts anyway. That's just because that's how I roll. But last thing that really irritated me, it's Derrick Henry, and it's not Derrick Henry himself. But we are currently 5 months away from people saying, once again, that Derrick Henry is too old and he's too washed. He has too many miles on the tire. He is too used to be good in football anymore, even though he just turned 31 and is arguably having the best overall season of his career. But it happens almost every year like clockwork. People hop off the Derrick Henry bandwagon, and he continues to be the king.
I don't really have anything to add to this other than watch Derrick Henry play this year, and you tell me if he's close to being done.
Yeah, not in Baltimore. Like, I just don't. Sure, the yardage is probably going to start to decline. Maybe the touches decline, but the touchdowns are always going to be there. It's just the offense that he's in, Kyle. And I love it. And I will love it again in 2025. I'm hoping I love it again this coming up week. I'm hoping.
Let Derrick Henry fall to the second round.
Do it.
Let it happen.
I dare you. It probably will happen if I'm being completely honest. He'll probably be towards the beginning of the second round again, and that is absolutely bonkers. But now we move forward to the next round of the NFL playoffs. We'll be talking more about those games in our upcoming episode in Pick 6, so we're not going to dive into them too much just yet, but I'm hoping for a better weekend of football here this week, Kyle.
Oh yeah, better
it's
weekend.
It's got to be better, right?
Closer games. The only game I don't want to be close is the Detroit game. I would like to see them win by 2 scores so I don't have to sweat it out on Saturday night, but it is what it is.
I personally would love to see it be a super close game just so you're texting in the group chat continuously about being nervous or about complaining about calls. Because let's be honest, that's probably what you're going to end up doing.
I don't complain about calls all that often.
Only if they're against the Lions. Exactly, especially in the playoffs. This is a brand new territory for you, Kyle, so you never know what's going to happen. But hey, what irritated you this past weekend in the NFL playoffs? Leave it down below in the comment section. This is a safe space. This is a space for Headliner Nation to come together and air our grievances and just talk about all the crap that just happened in the NFL playoffs, hoping for some better games here this upcoming weekend. Be sure to stay tuned to Pick 6. If you haven't checked out Pick 6, it comes out on Wednesdays. It's me and Kyle. It's some football talk, but we end up going off the rails pretty freaking quickly. So if that's what you're looking forward to, make sure you check out that show. But myself and Kyle are going to go ahead and get out of here for the day. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, and then most importantly, do your part to make the world a better place. I'm a headliner.